Our new book, or something else that means a lot to our guest. To find out more about the Palm Garden Way, take a tour, located on the corner of 27th Avenue and 34th Street in Ocala.
All right, just see, 9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking morning. Here's something that I find interesting. Do you know, we were just talking about plants and how when you give the right kind of fertilizer to the plant, all of a sudden it'll start doing better. We had guests on talking about pets and how the right food for your pet can make suddenly your pet do better. Well, how come we don't realize that that's true for ourselves too? Our next guest is, well, you probably already agree. You probably already agreed that it is something that is true, that if you treat yourself better with the nutrition that you put in your body, you'll probably do better. But we kind of are at a loss for how to do that. And that's why our next guest is going to give you a great message, I believe. Jeannette Hyde, calling in. I think she's calling in from the United Kingdom. She's a registered nutritional therapist, a contributor to BBC Radio, The Times, The Daily Telegraph, High 50 Health, and her book is very good. It's called The Gut Makeover: 4 Weeks to Nourish Your Gut, Revolutionize Your Health, and Lose Weight. And wait till you hear the differences that just putting the right things in your gut will make for you. And it's not just about losing weight. Good morning, Jeannette Hyde. Good morning, Jeannette.
Good morning. What an intro.
Thank you so much. Are you where I think you are?
I am. I'm in London, actually. Yes, and I'm sitting looking at a lot of very green trees and a grey sky.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Have you always been a healthy eater?
No, I haven't. Before I got into nutrition, I was terrible. I didn't look after myself at all. I used to do all that calorie counting nonsense, and then I'd lose a bit of weight, and then I would catch colds because, I was probably quite depleted of nutrition after, going without. I used to eat junk food. I used to drink a lot of alcohol. I used to eat very few fruit and vegetables. Where shall I stop?
Oh my gosh! So help us understand this. The book is really the place to go. In a short interview like this, we're not going to cover much of it at all.
No.
But when we hear things like probiotics and things like that, sometimes one word doesn't really explain everything. And we might buy a cheap version or the wrong version. What are your thoughts on all that?
Okay. So this book is about how to make your gut bacteria make you healthy, or make you slim, or make your skin look really good, or boost your immune system. That all sounds, quite different, doesn't it, to what we used to be told about food? Yeah. So in the past, even when you were doing the intro, you were talking about, food nourishing you. But this is what is different, and that we're finding out in recent years, is that we've got these 3 or 4 pounds of bacteria that live in the intestines, and it used to be considered benign and of not any medical interest at all. And then the science completely has changed in that at an enormously fast pace the last few years, and it's now been discovered that this bacteria is massively involved in controlling our weight and our immune system and even our mood and things like that. And if you stop sort of like even looking at a calorie on food, just kind of put that to one side and start looking at every single thing that you put in your mouth as potential food for this bacteria, then you start to get all the benefits. So you can actually eat a lot of food. So on this plan that I've designed, you eat 3 very hearty meals a day, and you have a 12-hour overnight fast. And this helps, build this bacteria in the gut and make it flourish. Because the more variety you get into your diet, so for instance, you want lots and lots of vegetables and some fruit, all the fibre and the colour in those, it's a really special food for the bacteria, and they absolutely love it and they thrive. Whereas if we eat a very monotonous diet, like the Western diet, the fast food, the convenience food, and all the rest of it, quite often it can be very beige and basically one thing that you're eating all day. For many people, it's like, they don't realise that most of what they're eating all day is beige wheat, isn't it? Because you have some toast for breakfast, you have sandwiches for lunch, you might have pizza or pasta for dinner. There's like traces of vegetables on some of those things.
Right.
And do you see what I mean? So just going through all this colour and fibre, and then you mentioned probiotics, and then you may have heard of prebiotics as well. Prebiotics are particular plant foods that have, they're like the best fertilizers for this gut bacteria, and that can include things. It doesn't have to be really fancy, expensive foods even. It can be things like cold potatoes that you make cold potato salad with, because it has this resistant starch that forms when it cools down, and that's like this gourmet food for the bacteria. And also even some oils are really good, like extra virgin olive oil, and that in the colour contains a colour that is a very good food for the bacteria as well. And then probiotics you talked about. In my book I only use foods. I don't use any pills at all, because the research that I looked into, and also from the results that I get with working with people directly, I find the fermented foods are the most powerful medicine.
The book is going to give us the details about what we should do, but give us, if you don't mind, just a little sample of what to expect. Like what do you mean by revolutionize your health and lose weight? I mean,
okay.
I mean, obviously we know what that means, but I mean, in what way have we ever done anything like this before, or is it something different?
Well, we probably used to do, a lot of hunter-gatherers and people who eat a natural diet are doing this automatically, and we used to do a lot more of it when we used to have to pickle our sort of food because we didn't have refrigeration, and we had to ferment food and stuff like that as well. But what the mechanism this book is working on is building up that bacteria, creating diversity, and then what that does is it influences two mechanisms. It helps us to extract less calories from the food that we're eating, and secondly, it balances our hunger hormones so we don't get cravings. And those two, in the past we just thought it was all about calories in and out. Instead, you need to eat in a clever way that will have an influence on your metabolism. And it's very simple. Just think about, I need to have a meal where I'm going to feed the bacteria really, really well. And so, for instance, in the morning you might have something like a kefir shake. Have you heard of kefir?
No.
Okay, so this is
I think I saw it in the store. I think I saw it. By the milk?
Yeah, it's like a fizzy drinking yogurt.
Okay.
It's absolutely delicious, and you can just pour that into your blender, which would be a load of probiotic bacteria. You could have a handful of frozen berries, which contain in the colour loads of polyphenols to feed the good bacteria, and you could put in a tablespoon of flax seeds, which is another great food for the bacteria. Blend it all up, drink it, and on your way, and your gut is going to be, that was great, thank you.
The Gut Makeover is the book. Let me give it away and then get information so we can go buy one. If you'd like the copy that was sent to me, call me. I'll leave it for you. Jeannette Hyde, Hyde is how Jeannette spells her last name, is the author. Jeannette, I know you have a website, JeannetteHyde.com, correct?
Yes, two N's and two T's.
Two N's and two T's. And you, the book is for sale on all the bookseller websites, etc.?
Yeah, and it's widely stocked in Barnes and Noble. It's on Bloomsbury, the publisher's own website as well. You can look on if you want more advice along the way, there's my Facebook Gut Makeover page. Okay. I'm on Instagram as Jeannette Hyde.
Jeannette, thank you so much. We have to run, but thank you so much for calling in. We'll be right back.
This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Republican leaders optimistic about their revised health care bill up for House vote today. It now contains money for those with pre-existing conditions.
Leader McCarthy last night was as confident as he has been in weeks. He very boldly declared, "We are going to pass it," after he spent several hours late yesterday huddling in Speaker Ryan's office, counting to 216 to see if there were enough members of their own party to back the American Health Care Act.
Fox's Peter Ducey.
The most skeptical, though, do appear to be some of the moderate members of the GOP. None of these big moderates made